Okay, so today I am doing a massive book unhaul. There is like 4 boxes of books around me right now, and they all need to go because I am moving again. And you'll see more about that on the second channel with Katie. I'll probably post another moving vlog or something if you're interested. But yeah, I'm starting to realize my 3 bookshelves, they just don't hold that many books. I might have to sell these shelves and get new ones. I don't really know yet. Maybe I'll keep them for a bit longer, but I have a whole bunch of books that are off screen that you usually don't see, and a lot of these, you know, some of them are ones I've read, some of them are books that I bought and was planning on reading, but I'm starting to realize there's just not enough time in my lifespan.
I have no time.
And I'm never gonna get around to all the books that I wanted to. Then some are books that I just kind of lost interest in. I know firsthand how difficult it can be to move a ton of books, so yeah, I'm trying to get rid of a lot.
This library's got too many books.
Most of these I'll be donating to secondhand shops, or there's also a local bookshop where they give you like in-store credit for trading in books. So then I can buy more books, I guess? That kind of defeats the purpose, I know, but I'm just gonna have to buy more shelves when I move. Martha Wells, author of the Murderbot Diaries and so many other incredible books, has an upcoming fantasy book called The Witch King, releasing on May 30th, and Tor Publishing sent me this swag box for The Witch King, and we're gonna open it. This is not a paid sponsorship, I just wanted to open it with you guys. Who knows what's inside? Oh ho ho! The ARC copy of Martha Wells' Witch King. There is what appears to be a temporary tattoo. I should put this on. We're gonna be really bold and go with the face tattoo. I haven't put on one of these since I was like 9 years old. Yes, it worked! I'm beautiful at last! Okay, and the last thing in the box is this bookmark. This is actually sick. How cool is that? And again, Witch King comes out on May the 30th. Let me know in the comments if you're excited to read it. First off, I'm gonna be getting rid of the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. This was actually the first, like, buddy read that I ever did, or read along that I did, back when I had a Goodreads group. And, you know, I enjoyed it at the time, but there was also a lot of things I just didn't really like about this series, and I'm probably never gonna reread it. And if you're interested in some of the things I didn't necessarily like about it, first of all, Lila Bard is kinda cringy. She's like way over the top trying to be edgy. Also, the world building just wasn't, I was just expecting a little bit more, and then there was also some real plot conveniences that happened. The main concept of the story is pretty cool, but I just feel like it doesn't really live up to expectations.
Boom. Roasted.
Next, I am getting rid of these middle grade books, The Search for Wundla and The Hero for Wundla. I always wanted to read these, but I just don't think I'm gonna get around to it. I have a bunch of paperback copies of The Wheel of Time that I'm getting rid of because I'm trying to collect all the hardcovers. The Invisible Library and The Masked City by Genevieve Cogman. I actually really enjoyed these books, but it's been a long time since I read them. I'm probably not gonna continue on with the series, so I'm just gonna get rid of them. Okay, does anybody remember the Gideon trilogy? Because I read this back in middle school and I loved these books. I don't really remember a whole lot about them now, and I wanted to make a remember reading video on them, but realistically, I'm not gonna reread these anytime soon, so it's probably gonna be a while before I make that video. I just need to get rid of these. These are actually my original copies of The Hunger Games I read way back in like middle school. I kinda don't want to get rid of these because of the nostalgia, but am I going to reread The Hunger Games anytime soon? Probably not.
I volunteer as tribute!
Oh, nostalgia overload. This Night City book I had when I was like 6 years old, and it's this really cool pop-up book. I used to love this book so much. It talks all about, you know, medieval life. How cool is that? You could even like open up the individual rooms to see what's inside. Oh yeah, the cathedral is really nice because it's got like stained glass windows in it. But you know what? Another kid will enjoy it, so why not pass on the joy? Another book I had when I was a kid, I loved, you know, knights and castles and all that.
This is medieval times!
And this book, Where's the Dragon? This was like sort of an I Spy book. You would try to find like the dragon's face in just random stuff. Like all over the place, there's hidden dragons. And I believe at the end, it tells you how many dragons are on each page, so you can see if you got them right or not. I honestly spent so much time looking at these images as a kid, but yeah. Oh wait, the answer is at grandfather's house. 76! There's 76 dragons. I'm sorry for spoiling it. The Silkworm. I never did read this, and I'm not really that interested. We'll Save the Galaxy for Food. I love the name of this book. I bought it secondhand, but it's been a long time and I still haven't read it, so it's going. The Night Gardener. I actually read this a few years back. It's a really cozy, kind of creepy middle grade book, but yeah, I'm not gonna reread it, so I might as well get rid of it. Okay, if I'm being honest, I don't really want to get rid of any of my Legend of Drizzt books. They just mean a lot to me because that was one of the first, like, adult fantasy series that got me back into reading in high school, but I am gonna get rid of these big bind-up editions. Unfortunately, they just take up a lot of space and they're very heavy to move. Again, I wish I didn't have to get rid of them, but since I've reread these books like multiple times, I guess it's time. Books 1 and 2 in the Chaos Walking by Patrick Ness. This is another series I picked up when I first started my channel, and I really like the covers, but I never got around to reading these. Here we have a few Charlie Bone books. I do think I'm gonna make a remember reading video on these at some point, but I don't really need to keep them. Also, does anybody remember Charlie Bone? I feel like it was kind of underrated. The Phantom Menace novelization, not too bad, but I don't really need it. Ready Player One. I actually really liked this book when it first came out, but I don't know if that opinion would hold up anymore. The Lunar Chronicles, books 1 to 3. This was one of the first series I picked up when I first started BookTube. I only read the first book, I enjoyed it, but I'm probably not gonna continue. Another Salvatore book, Mortalis. I really don't want to get rid of this again, but I don't have much space. A bunch of Assassin's Creed books. I do like some of the games, but I don't think I'm gonna read these. Fun fact, I was actually big into World of Warcraft back in the day, like for years. Me and my best friend used to play it all the time. I eventually created my own guild. I was like the guild leader, but I also read a lot of the books as well. I do remember really liking the Arthas book, but I don't think I'm gonna read these again. Harper Lee's Go Set a Watchman, the Rabbitback Literature Society. I did want to read this, but again, I just got too many books on my TBR. The 1000th Floor. Oh, I did read this one. I don't really need to keep it though. The Bone Season. This was a really interesting book, actually. Basically, robots took over, they started hunting humans for sport, and humans went extinct. Most of the world is controlled by a one-world intelligence, like this hive mind of robots, but there's some robots that don't want to give up their individuality. It was actually a pretty interesting book. Next, we have a bunch of Star Wars books that I'm getting rid of. Some of these are actually pretty good, but I don't really need them. And honestly, I kind of prefer listening to the audiobooks when it comes to Star Wars, because it's got all the sound effects and music and everything. And I just found a couple more of those. A few extra Tolkien copies I had lying around. The Queen of Blood. I've actually heard a lot of good things about this book, and I found this copy for like a few dollars. But honestly, I think I'll probably just pick up the ebook or something, because again, there's not enough space. The Miniaturist. I don't think I'm gonna get around to reading. It does sound pretty interesting though. Robin Hobb, the Forest Mage. Apparently this is like one of her not so good books, I guess. I'll still get around to reading it, but I'm actually, I think I might actually be getting rid of all the US editions I have of Robin Hobb, because I just really love those UK covers. You can't tell me those aren't gorgeous. An Animorphs book that I had, super nostalgic. Also, the 39 Clues by Rick Riordan. I only had the first book. And Reckless by Cornelia Funk. A lot of these are kind of nostalgic for me. Inkheart, another book I want to make a remember reading video on. I do have the hardcovers over there though, so I will get rid of this. A few extra copies I had of a series of unfortunate events. The Kite Runner, great book. If I reread it, I'll just get the ebook though. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I love this book. I want to reread it again, but I don't really care for this edition, and there's some newer editions out there that are just really nice, so I'll probably end up picking up one of those at some point. Oh yeah, somehow I ended up with an extra copy of Red Rising. Don't know how that happened. Dune. Never read this either. Okay, to be honest, I don't really want to get rid of my copy of Rogues, but I just figure I might as well, because really I was only reading it for the Lightning Tree short story by Patrick Rothfuss, and like I already read that, I probably don't need to have this huge hardcover just for that story. This book is hard to find though, but oh well, it's gotta go. Stephen R. Lawhood. I actually read the first book in his Albion series a long time ago and really liked it. These ones, I don't know. Let me know if you've read them. I'm probably just gonna get rid of these books though. Neuromancer, great book, really ugly cover. Naruto, Volume 2. I love Naruto. It was one of the first animes that I ever got into. I only have this volume of the manga though. Sometime maybe I'll buy like a box set of the Naruto manga and even review it on the channel, but I don't need to keep just one single volume. I forgot they made like a Sherlock manga. I think I even reviewed it a long time ago. The Sword of Shannara. I don't know. I never actually read this. I know it's like a classic. I have books falling now. I know it's like a classic fantasy book. I do want to read these at some point. Don't really care for this edition though. Maybe I'll try the audiobooks or ebook. The first 4 books in the Earthsea cycle by Ursula K. Le Guin. This edition is actually pretty cool, but Katie bought me the entire Earthsea like illustrated edition that's so beautiful, so I don't need this anymore. These were some Feist novels that I got for like $1. They're a little bit beaten up, but I do have the ebooks. The Wind in the Willows. Honestly, I love this book so much. So nostalgic, but I never really cared for this edition that I have. I'd like to find a better edition at some point. Mr. Popper's Penguins. I think I might have accidentally taken this from my elementary school when I was little. Accidentally. It is time to set it free. Legends. This is a collection of short stories by like Robert Jordan, Ursula K. Le Guin, Tad Williams, and Terry Pratchett. All of those authors are some of my favorites. But it's gonna go bye-bye. Bye-bye. Alex Rider, books 1 and 2. These books were pretty fun back in the day. I actually really like these new editions, but I'm gonna get rid of them. The Pendragon books. I used to love these books a lot. I don't know how much they hold up anymore, but I've slowly been collecting them at used bookshops because I wanted to make a video on them, and I know I still am going to at some point, but they just take up a lot of space. I don't think I necessarily need the books to be able to make a video on them because I've already read them, and I think I will reread them again. Maybe I'll pick up the ebooks or something. Okay, I am still a Doctor Who fan, but I don't need all of these Doctor Who books. I used to collect them. Doctor Who Impossible Worlds, Doctor Who Book of Monsters, Secret Lives of Monsters, and the Dalek Handbook. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really need these anymore. Okay, those are all the books that I am unhauling. It was quite a lot. I have like a wall of books here. There's still more in the boxes that I'm just not gonna show because they're not that special or anything, and it would make this video just too long. Anyways, let me know if you've read any of these, if I'm making any grave mistakes and I shouldn't be getting rid of some of these books. Let me know. Also, are you also nostalgic for any of these? Tell me all of your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.